Coming up, we'll talk about Diz Cruise 1.0 aboard Royal Caribbean's Oasis of the Seas, and we have an official announcement regarding Podcast Cruise 5.0. And we're also going to talk to our good friend Jack Burgin about some of the legal issues surrounding the film Escape from Tomorrow that we talked about on last week's show. All that coming up. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode 642 for the week of September 3rd, 2013. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts in helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation and the perfect Royal Caribbean vacation. Let our cruise experts help you plan an amazing cruise aboard one of the 22 ships in the Royal Caribbean fleet, including the new Quantum of the Seas, setting sail for the Bahamas and the Caribbean from Cape Liberty, New Jersey in the fall of 2014. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I am your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends Sean Thompson, Dustin West, Corey Martin, and back on the controls, the lovely and talented Gregory Williams. And
the really awkward smile.
It was very awkward. I love how well lit I am. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And also joining us on Skype, our good friend Jack Burgin. Say hello, Jack.
Hi, guys. How are y'all?
Doing good. Doing good. We'll be with Jack in just a little bit. This is actually kind of a last-minute show. We weren't planning on coming in live today because, as all of you know, we recorded our show, or as most of you should know, we recorded our show on the Oasis of the Seas last week as part of Diz Cruise 1.0. But since we were able, some things happened on Diz Cruise regarding Podcast Cruise 5.0. We're going to have to start naming these things a little differently because I'm having a hard time keeping up with them. But it's kind of time sensitive with the Podcast Cruise, so we needed to get it up this week. And John asked me to make sure that information got relayed to everyone, so we're going to talk about that in a little while as well. Well, actually, let's talk about that now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Housekeeping. Why don't I have it? Why don't I have it in my notes? Oh, there it is. First, actually, John wants me to mention the special Viva Italia trip that we have been talking about for next September that is now open for booking. There will be a link to it on the show notes page, dizunplugged.com. I can tell you already that we've opened it up to previous ABDers who have traveled with us, and that trip is already half full.
Wow.
So it is going to sell out. It is going to sell out fast. This is an adjusted itinerary done specifically for us. Instead of doing the Tuscan countryside, we're getting to go to Florence. So we've got a great price on this, and it's a special itinerary just for our group, happening next September. September 16th through the 24th of 2014 are the exact dates. But I know something that will excite many of you. We can finally officially announce Podcast Cruise 5.0, November 30th, 2014. This is a 7-night sailing on the Disney Magic out of Port Canaveral. The most spectacular thing that will be happening on this cruise is I will turn 50. The last night of the cruise.
Yeah.
The most spectacular thing.
Yeah. It is. Well, what do you refer?
Hold on. Cut to me. Cut to me.
It's Pete's Legends Ball.
Is there something more spectacular that will happen on this cruise?
I was thinking bringing Marty Sklar back or something like that, but no. Maybe once he turned.
Well, if you want to bring him back, as part of the tribute to me for my 50th, that's fine.
It's like bringing sacrifices to the
That's
altar.
right.
Or Jody Benson back to sing happy birthday to you.
Just it's tribute. It's not sacrifice. It's just tribute.
Just tribute.
Yeah. So we'll be celebrating my 50th birthday on the cruise.
That'll be
and
fun.
I plan on throwing quite a little bash, and so we're looking forward to having a nice sized group of folks join us.
This will be great because I've never been on the Magic before. Now I can check all four.
Yeah, you'll have been on all four. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the booking engine for this is going to open up on, I know.
5, 4, 3, 2.
I think it's Wednesday, right?
I think it's Wednesday.
Yes.
I think it's tomorrow, the 4th. Again, a link on the show notes page, disunplugged.com. And it's going to include the itinerary. Once it goes live, you'll see the itinerary, all the pricing examples. And if you have an existing cruise they want to move to this sailing, you need to email Tracy Heinrichs. Tracy, that's Tracy with an EY, TRACEY, H at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Again, will be a link on the show notes page, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll put the link everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, on the show notes.
And yes, you can, harangue Tracy to transfer your existing cruise to Podcast Cruise 5. And one of the reasons we needed to do this today is because John managed to secure a deal where they're locking in the pricing for us for the next 2 weeks on these staterooms. So we've got a really good price right now. You're going to want to book early, and book early and often is what my suggestion would be. But yeah, that will open up tomorrow, September 4th. So it is official, November 30th, Podcast Cruise 5, 7 nights on the Disney Magic, and very, very excited about it.
I am too.
I'm really looking forward to it, and especially coming off of, we're going to call, 'cause we definitely have to do more of these Diz cruises, but we have to call them something different. I think it should be, given the way some things went on this cruise, it should be Podcasters Gone Wild.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no,
Do we have video?
We actually do, but we'll never show it.
I don't know why you're looking at me.
It was someplace to look. It was someplace in the room for me to look. No, everybody had a really great time.
Yeah.
And I think our folks, everybody that joined us, it was a smaller group than we're accustomed to when we do our group cruises. We had about 75 people, I think, with us. And, but everybody really had an amazing time.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is after we do a little housekeeping and talk to Jack Burgin, we're actually going to kick this right over into the show that we recorded on the ship last Friday. That's going to have the news stories and all that good stuff in it. We're not going to do the news live. We're going to kind of broadcast it. But you're going to want to watch it. It was a good show. We really enjoyed it. And you get to see the amazing sizzle reel that Craig put together for on the Oasis.
Thank you.
Podcasters Gone Wild.
But I think we should call it like Podcasters Gone Wild or something. Come up with some name like that for it, because Diz Cruise is just driving me insane. But Podcast Cruise 5.0.
Now, are we going to limit the amount of people we're allowing on 4.0 like we did on 5.0 like we did 4.0, or is it just going to be?
I think at this point, just kind of let it go wherever it goes.
Good, cool.
The entire ship.
Yeah,
Just us.
That's what the first one felt like.
Yeah.
I felt like we had the entire ship.
the second one felt like that. The first one was
they all kind of blend together.
Oh wow, I'm sure the people who are spending this money to sail with us really love hearing you say that. Each one is special and unique in its own way. Yeah, really. 5.01B.
Yeah.
We didn't get everything right on 5.0, so we had to do 5.01B. So, very excited about that, though. But you guys, Corey wasn't on the Oasis with us, but you guys all had a great time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Especially the last night.
Oh yeah,
These guys put away some wine. We did a chef's table.
We went to the chef's table.
it was great. 5
courses, 5 wines, plus bonus.
Plus bonus, plus bonus, plus bonus.
Yeah.
So, no, it was good. It was good. All right, I want to talk a little bit to Jack Burgin. Last week we were talking about the film Escape from Tomorrow that was filmed almost entirely inside Disney theme parks, and it was done guerrilla style. Everybody looked like they were just tourists filming, and this guy was actually putting together a film, and that was released, I think, at Sundance,
Right.
and got some positive buzz. And we all kind of just assumed that there was no way Disney would ever let this see the light of day, and it turns out it's going into limited release. And one of the things I commented on was that I wanted to ask Jack about this because I don't understand, Jack. How is it possible they can film a commercial motion picture, which is what it's going to be now when they release it, a commercial motion picture in the theme park without Disney's permission, and it's okay for them to release it?
Well, it depends on the kind of legal issue that you're talking about. Because you brought up last week the copyright issues, and that's a surprisingly complex question, because copyright doctrines include fair use, and that is a very fact-intensive question. The probably the better issue for Disney is are they able to prevent somebody from coming on their property just as a matter of plain old Florida law and carrying on activities that they don't really care for? And certainly they can. The interesting thing was for me that when I went back and looked at the terms of my season pass and all the old tickets I've bought, there's nothing on any of those tickets that says I can't take pictures and do with them what I want. Now, I am a little curious as to, for some of the cast members that are, or former cast members that are on the podcast, what were they told from Disney about what they should do if, in fact, they see somebody who's obviously commercially filming in the park?
Well, I know I'm sorry to interrupt, but I know just from our experience, not so much recently, and more so out at Disneyland,
Right.
far more so out at Disneyland than at Disney World. But like one of the cameras we're using here, actually the camera that's on me right now, is a camera I bought, I want to say about 4 years ago. It's what's known as a prosumer camera. It doesn't look like your standard tourist video camera. It's kind of big, kind of intimidating looking. And I got stopped every 20 feet in Disneyland with that camera. Who are you with? Who are you filming for? So they would look for stuff like that. And if they thought you, but I think out in Disneyland they deal with the paparazzi. They deal with, it's Hollywood's right there. So, but that's why I thought this is interesting that most of this happened. I mean, some of it happened at Disneyland, but a lot of it happened in Disney World. Yeah. And I think Disney World just doesn't kind of look at it that way. Just they don't expect people to be in there filming commercially.
Right.
Because they have really strict controls over that usually.
I know for me, as a previous cast member, I mean, I never was told anything about, if you see a big camera, report it or talk to the person. If I saw somebody setting up lights or something like that, or a tripod with a really big camera, and I didn't see a Disney cast member around, I probably would have reported it to my manager just to say, hey, something's going on, and I wanted to know if you're aware of it. But that was never in my training.
Well, the other place we've been stopped, and it happens, I'm not going to say frequently, but it happens on a fairly regular basis, are in the resorts. When it looks like
if we crowd a pool.
Well, this is what happens. Is like there's 5 of us there with thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment, and we kind of walk into an area and just start shooting. And it's I've got to a point where I've told these guys, split up, don't look so obvious. And because you got 5 people all taking pictures of the same thing, and everybody's using this really good equipment. So in those cases, they'll stop us. But that's not what this guy was doing. This guy was using a regular Handycam. He was sending the script via a text message. He was talking to them on the phones to give direction. And so it didn't look like anything was going on.
Right.
And, I mean, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant way to do it. But I'm just shocked.
But what's the difference between him doing this and somebody filming like he did, but put it on YouTube, and you have your ads that you get revenue from? So what's the difference? Can't that be seen as commercial if you're getting paid from your YouTube views?
It certainly can. If you're getting revenue, that's not really the accurate test. It is a commercial activity. But under fair use, that's only one of the criteria for determining whether a use is fair. Probably the more important use is the one that the courts consider the final one. Is this going to adversely affect the copyright holder's marketing or potential marketing of the copyrighted work? And what I've seen for this movie, for instance, is a lot of people saying that Disney really doesn't have much of a leg to stand on from a fair use standpoint, because this is somewhat of a satire and
a derivative work, maybe.
Well, derivative work, is that what you were asking?
Yeah, I guess not. I guess it wouldn't really be considered that now.
It really isn't, because the derivative work is something you have to have permission to create in the first place.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the limited rights that a copyright holder has, is the right to create derivative works. Now, you can also think of fair use as somewhat of a derivative work. The best example, if you remember a few years ago, somebody wrote a book called The When Done Gone, which was a parody of Gone with the Wind. And the Federal Court of Appeals that would hear any copyright issues arising out of Disney World, it's in Atlanta, held that The Wind Done Gone was a fair use of and a parody of Gone with the Wind. And so Margaret Mitchell's heirs couldn't accurately sue, didn't prevail in their attempt to prevent The Wind Done Gone from seeing the light of day.
But in a lot of cases, don't companies like Disney, even if they know that if it ever gets to court, they'll probably lose, go after it aggressively anyway, hoping the plaintiff won't have the money or the resources to keep up the fight? Because once you go to federal court, I mean, now you're in the big bucks. You've got to pony up quite a bit of cash to defend yourself in federal court.
You do, but under the copyright law, loser pays, even if it's the party suing. It's not like some of the discrimination laws. There's a Supreme Court decision from a number of years ago involving Dan Fogarty, I believe, that held that the loser has to pay the winner.
Wow.
Period, and there's no presumption one way or the other. So companies like Disney are finding out that it doesn't necessarily pay to just run to federal court. And I've got to say, there's some interesting copyright issues here, but there's a real big practical one. Why would Disney want to promote this guy's work? I mean, if you think about the SeaWorld Blackfish situation, SeaWorld gave the Blackfish producers just a tremendous amount of free publicity.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I'm pretty much thinking Disney doesn't want to do that.
Do you think that's what's really going on here? Is they don't see it as a major threat to their brand, and by going after this guy, it automatically, as you said, gives him that publicity. Do you think that's where their tactic is coming from?
Disney has been very silent ever since Sundance Festival, which by my recollection was last January.
Yeah.
Disney's had from January to now to file a lawsuit, and to my knowledge, they've not done that. Maybe they will once they see that a distributor has picked up the movie. But, we're 9 months into the year so far, and without any word from Disney, I suspect they're just happy to let this one slide under the table. And I understand there are some interesting copyright issues here. I mean, take Cinderella's Castle. Disney really firmly believes in word-of-mouth advertising. There's a couple of conference calls where they've emphasized that point. So they truly want people to take pictures of their copyrighted materials. And some stuff they can't copyright. The Cinderella's Castle, for instance. It was built before 1990, and architectural works can't be copyrighted if they were built before 1990.
Really? I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah. And
so someone could recreate Cinderella Castle in its entirety and be within the law?
Well, remember, Cinderella's Castle is kind of a reproduction of a couple of other places, and Neuschwanstein Castle in Bavaria, and if you believe Dan Brown, the Blue Moss in Istanbul. So, exactly what could Disney copyright? Now, if somebody wanted to make an exact reproduction, then Disney could probably find something that they copyrighted. I mean, some of the nuances of the castle may have an independent copy.
I think we lost.
Vehicles,
there he is. He's back. We lost you there for just a second, Jack.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying you cannot copyright vehicles, motor vehicles, recreational vehicles, boats, and so odds are Disney, the monorail, for example. Monorail would be a good example. Monorail itself can't be copyrighted, but when they put the Avengers wrap or the Monsters University wrap on it,
right? Okay,
the wrap can be.
So that explains maybe how he's getting away with using those images. We saw, the image of the artist's rendition of Spaceship Earth on the movie poster, along with the monorail on the movie poster. Is that what they're counting on in terms of being able to use that safely?
Probably. I also suspect he's probably being a little sloppy in what he's using.
Okay, there's that option too. See,
and one other point, if you don't mind,
sure.
Just to be clear, even with buildings built after 1990, the Copyright Act says that the copyright does not include the right to prevent people from taking and viewing photographs of architectural works.
Well, it's for us back in the early days. Remember we launched the site in '97. We just lived in abject fear. I lived in abject fear of Disney Legal, that they were going to come down on it, because in those days they just had this vicious reputation. Everybody liked to talk about the nursery school here in Central Florida that apparently put up, painted images of Disney characters on the side of the school. And Disney Legal went in and threatened them and made them take it down. And then Universal used that as an opportunity and went in and gave them the rights to put their characters up. But, stories like that abounded for years. And, those of us, I think, in the early days of the web, where Disney sites were concerned, we lived with that. And then I noticed around 2005, 2006, there started to be this shift. And you talk about the word of mouth advertising that Disney does. And we started noticing that they were letting us more frequently bring in monopods or tripods into the park, whereas before that was forbidden. You weren't allowed to do that. Because they saw these things were getting out on YouTube. These things were going up on the internet. And you might as well let people take the best pictures and best video possible if you're going to let it be out there, so that, your brand looks good. And that was a smart move on their part. Universal never got that. It is such a pain. You want to talk about a pain in the neck to film as anything. Even when you're invited there as media, they give you a hard time with taking pictures because they don't own any of the intellectual property. So, they have all these different deals with studios. But I don't know. It's. I was just surprised by it. I was stunned that Disney wasn't going to do anything.
Well, remember, that's the entrance to Disney's California Adventure and Disney's Hollywood Studios is just a almost perfect replica of the old Pan Pacific Auditorium in Los Angeles that was built in the 30s.
That's right. You're right. Yeah.
And you can go around. I mean, Main Street USA is supposed to be a reproduction of the town Walt grew up in. So it's, they rely heavily upon stuff they have. I wouldn't say appropriated is probably too strong a word,
right?
That they've copied.
Now, all that being said, Jack, is this a movie you want to see?
Not really.
Is anybody I mean, if it's sitting in front of me, I'll watch it. But
I will seek it out.
I'm curious.
You're gonna seek it out?
Absolutely.
I'd seek it out.
Yes.
I wonder.
Well, the one trailer I saw was the guy sitting in the pool and seeing the young ladies getting undressed to get into the pool. And it's not that I'm so much of a prude, but frankly, I just kind of wondered about the point.
Exactly.
See, for me, it's more about not necessarily the plot or the content of the movie, but I want to see it and notice every place because I know Disney properties so well. I want to look at it and see where exactly everything was filmed.
And I want to see it just to see how well they actually pulled it off.
Yeah.
How does it sound?
script.
How does it look? And kind of look at it from a filmmaker's angle of how did they do that shot?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff I'm interested in.
Oh, great. So that Dustin can go do this in his spare time.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that.
I know. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Jackie. I appreciate your input on this. Always good to see you.
Good to see y'all.
Bye,
Thank you
Jack.
very much.
All right. Thanks so much, Jack. And that's going to do it for this little live intro. And like I said, we're going to throw you over now to the show that we did on board the Oasis of the Seas last week. And for Diz Cruise 1.0, we had a great time, and we hope you enjoy it. So I'm not going to do my sign-off here because I do it there. But here it is. Thanks for being with us. Coming up, a healthcare worker is arrested for leaving a disabled man alone in a Disney resort. Disney Channel is coming to Apple TV, and dates for the Broadway preview of Aladdin have been leaked. We're going to discuss that, plus reaction to Disney's Rapid Fill program and our experience on Diz Cruise 1. Coming to you from Royal Caribbean's Oasis of the Seas, this is the Diz Unplugged. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Diz Unplugged, coming to you from Dazzle's on board the Oasis of the Seas. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined this week by my good friends, Kathy Whirling, Dustin West, Sean Thompson, and Michael Bowling. John and Kevin are not here, obviously. I think they're a bit exhausted and needed a break and told them to take a rest. But let's all give them a round of applause for the amazing job they did putting this together. And also want to make a very special announcement on this show. Want to welcome Michael Bowling as special correspondent and the newest member of the Diz team. So welcome aboard, Michael.
Thank you. It's an honor. I'm really excited.
For those of you that had the opportunity to watch the D23 coverage that we did a few weeks ago out in California with Tom Bell, Craig Williams, and oh my God, I forgot, Craig producing. I'm sorry, Craig. Sorry about that. That the coverage that they did at D23 a few weeks ago, and the amazing job they all did, but in particular Michael, really just did a phenomenal job. And I watched that and said, we got to have this guy on the team. And we've known him for years. He's a great friend of ours, great friend of the show, along with his lovely wife Carol, who's back over here. And so we're really thrilled to have you aboard. Couple things in housekeeping. First, I believe there's something we have to talk about regarding transportation tomorrow.
Yeah, so in the morning, if you took the buses here and you want to take the buses back to Orlando, you have to be in either express checkout in the morning or either in zones 1 through 7, which means I think you'll be getting off at like 7:45 or so. You should already have your tags in your room if you don't already. And I think the bus leaves at 8:30. And there'll be John, I think Kevin outside directing people where to go. So it leaves from the exact same spot that it dropped you off. So it should be fairly easy to get out there. But, yeah.
All right. And also, if you did happen to rebook on board, please make sure when you get home, you just send an email to Tracy Heinrichs, letting her know she should be getting that list from Royal Caribbean, but just want to make sure that we've got everybody who rebooked on board. And before we go any further, have you enjoyed the cruise? Mm-hmm. It's an amazing ship. We're going to talk about it a little more a little later on, but do want to remind everybody coming up the weekend of September 7th, the meet in Indianapolis. Most of the team is going to be there and be doing a show. Very excited about it. Information about it can be found, along with everything else we talk about in the show, on the show notes page, dizunplugged.com. Also, of course, we have the meet coming up in November in Delaware. All this to raise money for Give Kids the World. We've had some real great success this year with these meets, raising a lot of money, and really happy with the effort everyone has put in, our listeners have put into making these meets such a success. But I'd like to take this opportunity to put a call out to some of our listeners in some other states, namely Chicago, or cities, I should say. Chicago, California, Texas. We'd love to do meets there. We have big audiences in those places, and we think that we could have some real successful meets in those areas. But I don't care where you are. Evelyn made Nova Scotia work.
Oh, yeah.
So Evelyn's living proof that it doesn't matter. You don't even have to have listeners. If you've got friends and family, because it really was. The Nova Scotia meet was pretty much like the McNamara family reunion.
Yeah,
yes,
the Evelyn party.
But it raised $8,000 for Give Kids the World. So, it just goes to show if you've got the passion, you can make it happen. We want to do as many of these as we can. We want to raise as much money as we can. So if you want us to come do a show in your city, we're happy to oblige. Just set up a meet and we'll be there. Oh, my iPad keeps going off. I don't have my notes. And what else do we have in housekeeping? Am I missing anything?
I don't believe so.
I feel like I'm missing something. I'll think of it later and interrupt. So let's go ahead and go over to the news. Some interesting stories in the news this week.
Yeah, I feel so out of it since we've been on the ship for a week, but we found the 3 most interesting stories back on land. The first one, Apple TV adds music videos, Disney, weather, and more to their programming. So, as first reported by 9to5Mac, an automatic update adds not only the rumored Vivo music video app, but also the Disney Channel, Disney XD, the Smithsonian, and the Weather Channel to Apple TV. They join a slew of Apple-approved content channels already on the Apple TV, increasing the total number of available services to 20. It's no surprise to see apps from Disney on the Apple TV, given Apple's close relationship with the studio. Disney's sports-based subsidiary, ESPN, has been on the device since June. It's worth noting, however, that both the Disney Channel and Disney XD apps are locked to your cable provider, and so to activate, you must open each app, visit the Disney special website, enter your cable information, and then it opens, similar to HBO Go.
That's the same thing they do with HBO Go, where if you have to prove that, your cable provider has...
Disney Channel, the exclusive channel.
I know, it's a little weird.
All cable providers.
But still, it's on demand. A lot of it's, they'll be providing live footage, live coverage, as well as on-demand shows. So
I think this is great.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
I think the more programming they add to Apple TV is the better, especially Disney stuff.
Do you think they'll show Miley Cyrus doing that nasty dance she was doing?
They're going to play it automatically when you open up the app. You have to watch it.
What is that called again?
That's twerking.
Twerking.
Yeah, twerking. I don't want to get in that conversation
don't Google
again.
it. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean, you think it'll be something where they have, like, every show they've ever done, like HBO does? Or, what do you think, man?
I don't think it'll be that big.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty extensive, but I think it'll be a nice selection.
Because I got to get my Lizzie McGuire on right now. All right.
Aw.
I'm ready for the Even Stevens.
Well, it would be nice if they showed the classic films, the classic TV shows like Zorro and Spin and Marty and the Mickey Mouse
I would
Club.
love it if they did
and
that.
And the ones we all grew up with that aren't there anymore, that aren't readily available. But there's an audience for that.
I think if we don't see that out of the gate, I think you're going to see that in short order, because you're right. I think there is an audience for it. Plus, there's a new audience to discover it. And I think what you're seeing with Apple TV, I'm convinced that the rumors are true that Apple is getting ready to release a television set. That's what's been floating around for a couple of years, that Apple is actually going to release their own TV that's going to have all this varied programming and options in it.
And I'm sure it'll be the best display ever built.
Oh, and the most expensive television you'll ever buy, if it's priced like their computers are. Yeah. But you're starting to see now that entertainment is being consumed through these mediums now. It's all cloud-based. It's all on-demand. It's all what you want to watch, when you want to watch. You basically, people become their own network programmers now and just kind of put together the entertainment they want. And that's what has the networks, I think, so scared, because they really haven't adapted. They haven't adapted to this new. They've tried to adapt, I think, somewhat through Hulu, but Hulu really, I don't think has been. I mean, it's cool, but
I use Hulu for.
But I don't
have a DVR.
If
so
I have to sit and watch commercials, they're going to lose me. It's what and I realize that's how they make their money, but a new business model really kind of has to come into play, and I think that's what you're seeing these different companies trying to do with the electronics that they're putting out, Apple in particular, with Apple TV. But now this next news story, I think we got to get a group together for this. But go ahead and.
Okay. All right, so Disney's Aladdin is set to begin Broadway previews on February 26th of 2014. There's also new artwork released and more opening info. So Broadway World can now confirm via a group sales ad exclusive news about the highly anticipated upcoming stage adaptation of Disney's beloved modern animated classic Aladdin. Previews for Disney's Aladdin on Broadway will begin on February 26th, with the production eyeing a March 20th opening night. Additionally, group sales are now open for performances from February 26th all the way up until August 31st of 2014. And the site has the new poster art and all that information. But I think they just had their previews in, I think, May or March of this year's. I think in Vancouver or Toronto. I can't remember which one. But people said that it's amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's been, Disney theatrical, it's been kind of hit or miss. Tarzan was not a big success. Mary Poppins was a, questionable success.
But I think the hits have been so big.
Well, the hits were
Beauty and the King, Beauty and the Beast, and Aida.
Aida was not a big hit. Aida was not a big hit. It got trashed by the critics. It lasted on Broadway for about 2.5 years, and that's not considered. It did not make its money back. So it's, in terms of this, they need another Beauty and the Beast. They need another Lion King.
Well, I tell you, I'm sorry. I tell you what, I haven't seen the one, the Aladdin show that they do at California Adventure, but I have seen the one they do on, is it the Fantasy or the Dream? I can't remember. But that show is made to be put on stage. It's really cool what they can do with some of the effects and the characters.
Well, the one out in Disneyland is amazing, in California Adventure. That Aladdin show, I mean, that's been running since that park opened, so that's, 10 years now, and at least 10 years. Yeah. And it's packed every performance, and that's a big theater they have there. So it's extremely popular, and I was surprised that it took so long for it to make its way to Broadway. I thought that Aladdin would have come before Tarzan. But, I'm excited about it. And I was, looking at that news story thinking, that might be a fun group to get together. Just get a bunch of listeners together in February. And, so think about that. And maybe we'll do something. It's really good. Group pricing looked really good.
I didn't know that Tim Rice worked on the music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Alan Menken, and some of the lyrics are obviously Howard Ashman,
right,
who passed away, but Tim Rice is working on it. So, and he also worked with Elton John on
Aida,
musical on Aida.
One of my favorite. This was not a success on Broadway. It was a big success in the West End in London. Was Tim Rice musical Chess. If you haven't heard the soundtrack to that, it's amazing. Absolutely love that. So, and of course Tim Rice, along with Elton John on The Lion King.
Yeah.
So. That should be cool.
They're also going to be bringing back songs that were cut from the animated film, including storylines like What Happened to Aladdin's Mother. That's going to be introduced into this play. The interesting thing is some of the shows that didn't do well here, like Little Mermaid, Tarzan, did very well in Europe. And there was even like Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Well, that's what we said, garbage. Yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Hunchback of Notre Dame is there's a musical version in Europe that's very popular, and it's being redone and is going to be made for the United States.
Well, what I found in particular, productions on like the West End in London, while very good, Broadway is the platinum standard. It's very, very difficult. Shows that will do very well in other places do not do well in Broadway. It's a much more demanding and discerning audience, maybe. But so I think that's part of it. It's just not everything's gonna fly on Broadway. But if you talk about songs that have been cut from Aladdin, probably one of the most beautiful songs I think ever written for a Disney musical was a song called "Proud of Your Boy." Mm-hmm. And there is some, I don't know where I got it from, but I got it legally somewhere, of Howard Ashman singing that song. And it's absolutely beautiful. There's a version of it done by, I think his name is Michael Barrowman, that you can find on iTunes called Proud of Your Boy. It's absolutely beautiful. If you get a chance, please download it. That was one of the songs that was cut. And if I'm not mistaken, Howard Ashman was really upset that it was not included in the film.
And it is being included in the Broadway version.
Oh, that's just going to be amazing. Absolutely amazing. So very excited about that. So what else do we have, Shawnee?
Well, then it gets depressing. So our last news story, caregiver arrested after leaving disabled adult alone in hotel. The caregiver of a mentally challenged adult has been arrested after leaving the individual alone in a hotel room while he went to Walt Disney World for 6 hours. The victim has the mental capacity of a 3-year-old. Maintenance workers at the Marriott Grand Vista Resort noticed water leaking out from under the room's door and found the disabled adult inside with water coming from a clogged sink. A rice cooker was plugged in near the sink, which the workers removed as a safety precaution before contacting Mohsin Mirza, age 47. Mirza said that he'd taken other children to Disney World and had never left the victim alone before, but thought it would be safe. Department of Children and Families is looking into it, and Mirza has been charged with the neglect of a disabled adult.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Isn't that awful? What do you say about that?
I don't know.
What are you thinking when you make that judgment call?
Well, that person said it never happened to him before, so obviously he's done this more than once, but that's scary.
What, meaning he never got caught before?
Right, he never got caught before.
Well,
he said he never left the victim alone before, so he could have been lying,
okay.
I suppose. But he said that he's never done it before.
Liar.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's his job. You know?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Especially for 6 hours, I can't imagine.
Exactly.
And what place is more friendly for people who have accessibility issues than a Disney park?
Right.
So why couldn't he have brought him, with them? I don't know.
Look, if you can't handle working with someone like that, then you shouldn't be working with someone like that.
Right.
I think we can all agree it takes someone really special to do that kind of work. Apparently, this person is not quite that special. So, hopefully, they learn their lesson. All right, thank you very much for that, Sean. I want to move on and talk a little bit about the Rapid Fill program. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see the piece Sean and Craig did last week that we put up on YouTube, where they kind of step you through how this process works. People are really upset about this. Looking at the comments on our YouTube channel. Well, first of all, let's just kind of give people a brief overview of kind of what the experience was for you and what you thought of it.
Yeah, so Rapid Fill are the new plastic resort mugs that you can buy at Resort Quick Service, and they actually have an RFID chip in them, so it requires you to have a valid time period and actually pay for a certain amount of time to use the mug. And so when you go up to the soda machine, you actually put it on the stand, and it reads the chip. It knows exactly how long you're supposed to use it for, how many refills you have, and then it kind of really controls things that way. The big thing we really were shocked by is that all the paper cups now that you buy, so if you say you just want like a large fountain drink, they have a sticker on the bottom that has the RFID chip on it too. And so when you buy a paper cup, you're given a 2-hour window and 4 refills. And then after that, your paper cup no longer works. So you have to buy a new one.
Only Disney could make electronic paper cups.
Exactly.
And make getting a fountain drink difficult.
Yeah.
I go to Burger King, and I can get as many refills as I want. They don't care.
Yeah, so this is slowly being rolled out to all the resorts. I think right now it's only at the values, but I think at the end of this month and in the beginning of September, it'll be brought to all of them.
Now, one of the things that has been brought up is that, there was a period in time where Disney didn't specifically specify that the refillable mugs were only valid for that particular visit. And there was some suggestion that Disney said these were good for life. Disney is saying we never said that. We just didn't specify that you could only use them on your current vacation. So you got people that say, you told me I could use this for life. Disney's pushing back against it. I'm very interested to see what they're going to do regarding that. But the comments coming in on the YouTube channel.
In regards to that, we kind of tested that out, and I don't have any experience with the Forever mugs. I just heard
Is that
stories.
what we're calling them now, Forever Mugs?
The Forever Mugs?
I think that's,
Get the no expiration option?
From what I hear, cast members told you they were good forever, and there might have even been signs above the mugs saying that these will be good for a lifetime, that you bring them back for every vacation. I'm on the search for any kind of photo proof of those signs. Yeah. None of the mugs say good forever. So Craig and I actually went up to one of the leaders, the managers that was working at the quick service, and we asked her that. And she said, she kind of had the Disney speak, and she said, you know what, every mug that we've sold for the past 20 years has a disclaimer on it that says it is only good for the length of stay, which is obviously not true because I have a resort-specific Mara mug from the Animal Kingdom Lodge that opened in 2001 that does not have that on it at all.
Right.
So, I mean, she was obviously kind of, I think, trained. I mean, she was very nice, but I think she was kind of trained to kind of field that question. So I don't know what they're going to do if someone comes with actually one of the mugs and pushes it.
I'm interested to see how they're going to handle that because what we're seeing on the boards, and again, like I said, on the YouTube channel, people feel this is overcomplicated. People feel that it's, on some level, unfair in terms of some of the restrictions you have on it. And, what was your experience with that? What are the restrictions?
It's different for, it's basically the same for the refillable mugs versus the paper cups. I think there's a 2 to 3 minute limit in between refills. So you refill it once, and I think you get a 16-ounce refill. I think you can divide that however you want. You can kind of fill it half with ice the first time, then go back, get your rest of your first refill.
Oh, wait, ice counts as a refill?
No. But it keeps track of how much is a full pour in the machine. So there's these little screens. It's super complicated.
Yeah, it's
for soda.
Yeah.
Okay?
You have your
soda
allotment.
that Disney does not pay for, I want to add.
Mm-hmm.
This is soda Disney does not pay for. The soda they get is they get it for free. They get it for free.
in
That's
lieu of
part of that deal. It's
advertising.
part of that
Yeah.
deal with Coke being a corporate sponsor. So, it's I mean, I realize that they wanted you buying a refillable mug each time you came. And that, clearly most people didn't do that. Most people went back with their mugs and used them over and over again. And that's why they're instituting this. But, okay, how many here think this is a good idea, the RFID chip in the mug?
Kathy.
Just Kathy.
And kind of a few people.
I have like 3 people doing this. So they're either
we're
not
dazzled.
sure or they're practicing for their debut and all that jazz. Why do you think it's a good idea, Kath?
I think it's a good idea because I think it got out of hand with people bringing their big gulp cups and things like that from prior vacations. And now, if you've got the dining plan, the mug is included in there anyway. So the part of it that I don't like is the fact that Disney, who's usually so environmentally friendly, that wants you to reuse something. Now, with your mug, once you go home, it's no good.
No, that you can bring it back, but you have to pay again.
You have to
Well,
recharge
but,
it.
Like how many people are going to do that? But I read something somewhere that, it's not so much that you were getting free soda, it was that they were missing out on the sales of the mugs. And that's sort of like how I look at it. Like, I realize, Disney's always trying to make $1 somewhere. And to me, that made sense that if they were missing out on the sale of a mug, then maybe they have to make the money up somewhere
Look,
else.
if they were interested, from my perspective, if they were really interested in the sales of the mugs, then stop making all the mugs generic.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Let's go back to resort-specific merchandise. Let's go back to resort-specific mugs. I think you're going to find people a lot. I can just see the heads nodding. I think you're going to find that people are a lot more interested if they're at Port Orleans one vacation and then the next vacation they're at Wilderness Lodge. They're going to want to buy those mugs.
I've got the cabinet at home that has from every vacation, each year the colors were different, and it would say All-Star Sports or Caribbean Beach, whatever. And now when I go home, it's I can't remember which year was pink and which was black.
Well, just personally, every time we would go do a resort review, every time we did the 7 and 7s, I bought a new mug each time, and I could not tell you which mug was bought on what trip,
right?
Because they're all stinking identical. And so, all right, fine, you're going to put these RFID chips in them? Great, whatever. I really don't have a problem with it personally. The amount of times I use a refillable mug or so, that's for me. So I really don't mind. But, if I'm a parent with kids and this is something I do all the time, I may have an issue with it. But, all right, fine, you're going to do the RFID thing. What are you going to do to make these things a little bit more appealing? They're going to have to address this. People are not happy. And they're going to have to address it soon. I'm hoping that Disney's learned the lesson, that when the internet gets its teeth into something, it doesn't let go. And based on my experience, the tone and tenor of some of these comments, this is going to be a thing. This is going to be a thing. And I'm really hoping that they address it in some way. Now, so far with the whole My Magic Plus experience with the bands and the Fast Pass Plus and everything, they seem to be really good about adjusting this as they're going. I'm assuming right now that this is going to be part and parcel of that as well, that they're going to adjust this based on these comments. We know they read the boards, we know they watch not just our show, but other shows, and they're always listening to, kind of what the chatterati are saying about this stuff. So I'm hoping that they make those adjustments. But while we're speaking about RFID, anybody here has anybody here bought Disney Infinity yet? You have any Infinity people here?
No.
Really? Really? Oh my. Okay, well, your Magic Band. You put your Magic Band on the Infinity pad, and it unlocks special things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And someone is suggesting here it works with the RFID mugs as well.
It's got to be a joke, though,
That seems goofy to me, but I don't know. It could be true.
I think if Disney's smart, anything they put an RFID chip in, they should be able to put on that pad and unlock something.
That would be cool.
Do you think that would make more people want to buy the mug then, if they thought that they could?
A very small group of people.
Yeah.
Well, it all depends on how big Infinity gets.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a weird sentence. Depends on how big Infinity gets. You know, it's one of those things you say, and then afterwards you're like, wow, did I really just say that? But yeah, it all depends on how successful that product becomes. But you know, just being able to put the Magic Band on and have it unlock something in Toy Box mode was kind of cool. But so I'm interested to see where they go with it, how they handle the response to this, because so far it's not really positive. So
I have to tell you though, at Disneyland, if we had cups that allowed us 4 refills in 2 hours, we'd be thrilled, because there's only 2 places at Disneyland we can get refills.
We're fatter on the East Coast. We need more calories.
But do you have to buy like a special collectible plastic mug for that to get refills, or?
Right now, we don't get refills.
These are on the resorts, though. This isn't in the parks.
Right. Well,
do you get refills at the resort locations?
There's not that many.
So
we don't have all the eating, dining locations in the resorts that you have at Disney World.
Yeah, as of right now, the mugs and the cups and the RFID stuff isn't going to the parks. I think it might be in Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach.
Yeah, it's supposed to go there.
But I don't think it's going to make it.
Now,
if
they started adding refill stations in the theme parks, I think that might mitigate a lot of this negative commentary and the negative feelings about this. But who thinks they're going to do that? I don't think. Personally, I don't think that you're going to see that.
Refillable beer. That is my...
I know. Always comes back to beer. Always comes back to beer. All right, you know what? Let's take a little while and talk about the experience we've had here on board the Oasis of the Seas. This is, of course, our first time doing an event outside of Disney Cruise Line. And we had a small but mighty group for this cruise. We were about 75 strong on this cruise, and that's been nice. It's kind of been nice, especially from the team's perspective, I think, not having, not that we don't love seeing 700 or 800 people when we do our events, but I have a feeling the next one of these we do will be a lot bigger.
Yeah.
But how amazing is this ship, though? I mean, just incredible. I get 2 claps, really? I was on this ship last April, and just kind of that. You walk through. Craig, give them a shot of the boardwalk. We have a camera trained on the boardwalk. That is one of the open air areas on this ship that you're looking at right now. For those of you who are watching the video, that's the boardwalk. We also have Central Park. We don't have a camera trained on Central Park. We don't have a cable long enough to do that. But one of the things that make this ship very unique, I think, are these areas. As a matter of fact, I just had a roast beef sandwich from the Park Cafe that was out of this world. If you haven't tried that, you need to go down there and get that. It was amazing. But what did they call it? They called it a roast beef sandwich. It's
called a Kumelvek or something. I don't know.
Kenilwick.
Who?
Kenilwick.
It's the sandwich of Kathy's people.
The sandwich of Kathy's people. It's like the official sandwich of Kathy's people? Or?
No, we're in the negotiations for that.
Okay. Some of the other unique things on this ship, something that's standard on all Royal Caribbean ships, the rock climbing wall. Have we had any rock climbers?
Craig did it. Yeah.
Lisa Tully did it. We have a young lady over here that did it. And, Angela did it. Ryan? No? You did it too? Okay. And the Flow Rider, which is like a boogie board surfing sort of simulator. How many people did that?
whole lot of people.
Wow. A lot of people on the Flow Rider. Cool.
Flow Rider.
I will just say in a word to either one of them, no. No. I know Ben, Tracy's son, Ben did it. Ben did Flow Rider. There's video of that, isn't there? Okay. We'll have to make sure we put that on the internet. But actually, speaking of video, Craig has put together a little sizzle reel of the ship that we're going to run for you now. So let's cut to that. Thank you very much for that, Craig. Kind of get an idea of what's around. No, you're not seeing it. It's not done yet. Okay.
That was quick, huh? It was a very fast
This is the benefit of not going out live, is that we can kind of do that stuff. Craig has between now and Tuesday to insert that into the show. But how about the casino? Anybody hit up the casino? Yeah? Yeah, we get some applause for that. I've lost my shirt, my shoes, my pants. Lord Almighty, I have never done so bad in a casino. I don't, but that part that's in most people where they stop after a certain point, apparently I was not born with that gene. I will blame that on my mom, who's right now. Actually, we need to blame that on my father, because my father had the exact same problem.
It's a great casino, though.
It is an amazing casino. It's beautiful. It's huge. It's the largest casino I've ever seen on a cruise ship. Divided into two sides, smoking and non-smoking, although the non-smokers don't seem to realize that there is a non-smoking side. So they sit at the smoking blackjack table and then bitch when you light up a cigarette. Like, hello, you've got your own section over there. But I've not done well. This is the worst gambling I've done in years. And I was on a good run last night, and then he walked up to the table and.
Oh yeah.
So I know, right? He sucks the luck right out of the table.
I didn't mean to.
We love him. Don't get me wrong. It's like,
just a bad luck.
Just go be over. He walks up. I'm like, go be over there now. I don't want you here. I'm winning. But what else? What else have you guys done? What have you found on the ship that you've enjoyed? Kathy, your first time on the Oasis. You are the hardcore Disney fan of the group. How does this compare for you up against Disney?
I like the ship. I came prepared to look at it objectively. There's some things I really like. There's some things that, but I think of my sister, because the sister that turned me on to Disney is the sister that really loves Royal Caribbean. So I was trying to take in what my sister told me, look at it, like what my clients would think of the ship. I really liked it. I've had a good time. If Royal Caribbean was parked next to Disney, I'm not quite, I would do this again in a heartbeat, though.
Okay, there you go.
I would do it.
Dustin, what about you? What's been your...
I feel the same way. I've only ever cruised Disney, but like Kathy, I would do Royal Caribbean, especially the Oasis, again in a heartbeat. I was just thinking about when you, if you've been either on the Magic or the Wonder for Disney, and you go into the stairwells and you look at, okay, there's that side of staterooms and there's that side of staterooms, and you think about how much bigger this ship is. Yeah. It's like twice the width of that. And I'm like, okay, you go up on deck on 15, and it's like everything is so far away. This ship is just gigantic, and I kind of I kind of like that. There's so much, even now, after 6 days, I have not explored and seen.
I'm also impressed with how smooth this sailing has been.
It is.
Oh my gosh!
It's very easy to forget that you're on a cruise because there's very little motion.
I'm actually really prone to motion sickness, and because you're just like a city moving through the ocean, you don't even feel it. It's so big. I mean, there are moments like at nighttime when you feel the motion depending on where you are in the ship. But for the most part, I haven't taken Dramamine once for taking it. So.
Now, I don't know if it was an optical illusion that I was seeing or if I was actually seeing the ship's stabilizers last night. Cruise ships have what are basically like wings that come out from the hull to help stabilize the motion. And I have seen them. I've seen them on Disney ships. I've seen them on some other ships. And again, I couldn't tell if I was seeing them or if it was just like an optical illusion because it was last night and the way the lights were hitting the water, it looked to me like there were about 10 set of stabilizers.
Oh, that's crazy.
On each side of this ship.
Could you take a photo of it?
No.
I don't think it would come
No,
out.
I don't think
Maybe you were hallucinating.
It might have been hallucinating.
Yeah.
The humidity, oh my God, it's very possible I could have been.
The ship has legs.
No, wings. The ship has wings.
Always with wings.
But it's been a very stable sailing.
It has.
And, of course, this was an Eastern Caribbean sailing. Thank you, God. It seems like every cruise I do, I end up doing Western, and I hate the Western Caribbean. I love Eastern. St. Martin, St. Thomas were our stops, along with Nassau in the Bahamas, which made no sense at all to me. But anybody do any damage in the islands? Any shopping?
Yeah.
Yeah, some. Yeah, I certainly did. God knows. But I bought Mom some nice jewelry, bought my niece some nice jewelry, bought me some nice jewelry.
And the tablecloth family that lives in the Caribbean.
Mr. Tablecloth.
Lots of linens.
Tablecloth, Mr. Linens.
Everyone's last name is Tablecloth.
Well, my mother was like obsessed with, we have to go linen shopping. So, at the end, if I need any more proof that I'm the gayest human being alive, I went linen shopping with my mother in St. Martin. And was excited about it. Okay, that's the part I need to add in there. I was excited about it. And we just tore that store apart. I mean, we bought so much stuff. But we had 2 great days in the islands. Love St. Thomas, love St. Martin. Just really great. And it was interesting, this trip, used to be a lot of people said they preferred St. Thomas over St. Martin. A lot of the people I talked to this trip were saying just the opposite, that they preferred St. Martin over St. Thomas.
I prefer St. Martin, definitely.
Well, on this particular sailing, when we came into St. Thomas, you had to take a taxi to the main portion of town, which made it a little inconvenient that you're not just dropped off right in the center of things. With St. Martin, you're dropped off and you just take a nice little water taxi over, and I mean, everything is right there.
Well, my understanding was that was unusual where we stopped in St. Thomas, that we normally stop at the dock that's basically right in downtown, but for some reason we couldn't this sailing. That was my understanding. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was a little bit of a hassle, but still. I love St. Thomas. I didn't get a chance to do what I normally do in St. Thomas, something I recommend to everybody. If you're ever back in St. Thomas again, go grab the ferry from Red Hook over to St. John. I think that is probably one of the most stunning places on earth. I've told the story on the show before. I'll say it again now. The island was owned, I forgot which Rockefeller owned it. But when he died, he willed it to the United States government under the provision that 80% of it never be developed. So this is a pristine island. The entire island is a U.S. national park. The beaches, all that, all maintained by the U.S. Park Service. And these beaches, when you go on to, I mean, it's like what you think of when you think of like a tropical paradise beach. And because it's very much undeveloped, it has a lot of its natural beauty still intact. And it's not that T-shirt shop, liquor store, jewelry store type experience.
I've never been there, but was it every 5 feet somebody asking if you needed a taxi?
Nothing like that.
I went snorkeling over at St. John's. So I went over there. Yeah, it's beautiful. It was the nicest beach I've ever been on.
Yeah.
It wasn't crowded at all. It was undeveloped, except they did have They had good facilities, but the whole island is just beautiful, very lush, very tropical. But no, it doesn't have any of
none of that.
People selling, their wares that all look alike every 10 feet. Yeah.
Well, we did. Katie, Michael, Shelley, and I went to Maho Beach out of St. Martin, and it's something that Katie and I had wanted to do for years and years and years, and we found 2 willing subjects to go with us. And I guess you'd call it touristy. There's this, it's the Sunset Bar, right? That was the name of the bar. But you sit there and you've got the ocean, you're looking out at the ocean. It's where the planes come into the airport.
Oh, wow.
And you sit there and you watch the planes come in. And it's not so much the planes coming in, it's the planes going out. That as the plane taxis and comes around in that jet blast, there's people that hold on to the fence to get blasted, from the jet. And it sounds really weird. You'd have to watch.
Remind me not to go on excursions with her.
And there's the sign that says this can cause extreme injury and death if you're up on the.
You could be burned to a crisp if you're too close.
Well, you wouldn't get.
Well, no, I hope I don't have to come on the show and say Kathy's not with us anymore because she got sucked into a jet engine.
Now, I was the official photographer, but you could feel the excitement. They have a surfboard there with.
They have an official photographer for this?
That was me.
She suffered the same fate as a duck.
But they had a surfboard of what time the planes came in. And you'd be sitting there at the bar, we had lunch, and you could feel the excitement as the planes were coming in over the water. And then when the planes were turning around, and we didn't stay till the big 747 was supposed to come, because that's really supposed to be the ultimate of, jet blast.
You had to make reservations for that one?
No, but, we got the T-shirt, we did the lunch. The beach was beautiful. It was very touristy, but it's sort of like the cool thing to do, and I'm sure eventually they're going to do away with that just for security purposes, for people, the people that the jet blast was so hard that it came across the road into the sand, blew the sand all around, and even made waves out in the ocean from the jet blast. And there's people standing there.
That's one way to get dermabrasion. Get my skin resurfaced. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going with you.
So look up Maho Beach if you want to do something exciting. Think of me when you go, but it was fun.
Okay, Sean, what about your experiences? What on the ship? What do you think?
My favorite thing on the ship so far is Central Park, without a doubt.
Yes.
People always say that you forget that you're on a cruise ship, but you honestly do.
Yeah.
There are trees everywhere. It looks like you're outside walking along a street.
They've got birds chirping.
There are fake noises.
Fake noises, yeah.
Crickets at night. They even have musicians out there playing violin and stuff at nighttime. And it's really beautiful.
And with all the restaurants out there, they all have outdoor seating areas, so it really does feel like a park with cute little restaurants.
And that was something the pictures and the videos that I had seen just didn't do it justice, because when you're up there in Central Park, it's like you really do forget you're on a cruise ship. It really is, and it's so relaxing. There was a lady doing her Tai Chi out there the other morning, and it's like, wow, this is cool.
Did you join her?
No, I just took a picture.
You didn't release your balls of energy.
No.
Okay. What else, Sean?
One thing I still need to do is go on the, I forget the name of it, but it's the bar that rises up and down.
Rising Tide.
Rising Tide.
Yes.
Rising Tide, yeah.
Yeah, there is a bar that goes between Central Park and the
promenade.
The promenade, and
it just goes up and down.
Literally goes up and down.
It seems so cool.
But it takes 30 minutes. It's not like the Tower of Terror.
I'd like that.
It's not a hard drop. It's a very slow.
It glides down. Yeah.
Our biggest question was, what if there's an emergency? Whether it's a serious emergency or you just got to go, man. I'm wondering.
You just got to wait 30 minutes, I think.
Yeah, really. Go before you leave. That's what my mother always told me. Go before you leave.
Yeah. I also thought that the way it's shaped, it looks like it could be a boat going up and down. Mm-hmm. And if anything happens, that's the lifeboat I want to be on. I don't know if it detaches or what.
They just shoot you off the ship and floats to the bar. Yeah. Martini.
And what about you, Michael? What have you thought of the cruise so far?
In the first couple of days, this was our first Royal Caribbean cruise, and we were so overwhelmed by just the sheer size of the ship. Carol and I thought we will never get on another Royal Caribbean ship again, and now we're looking forward to booking again and going on another cruise. I think for us, it was the entertainment options that are here. There is so much with all the different variety of shows and the entertainment going on in the Royal Promenade. I like that the Royal Promenade can be just a place where you just hang out, and sooner or later you're going to see people go by, which I don't think the other ships like Disney doesn't have that.
Right.
And so it's great. You just hang out there, and sooner or later you're just going to see people you know. Carol and I, we've only previously cruised on Princess and Disney. When we take our children on Princess, when they were younger, they loved the teen program. But then they outgrew the teen program when they were like 18, 19, 20. They were bored stiff on Princess. There was nothing for that age group, that older teen, young adult. If you're a family that has that age group, this is a great place for a cruise vacation because your older teens or young adults, they have the flow rider, they have the zip line, there's miniature golf, there's the whole sports deck that has all kinds of things going on, plus all the entertainment that's for a variety of age groups. If this ship had existed when our children were that age, they never would have been bored.
Yeah.
So, so contact your Dreams Unlimited agent. And but I think families with a wide age range who want to go on a cruise, this would be a great experience for them.
Can I add on to that, Michael, as well? My only other experience being Disney, I'm just noticing that there's a lot more folks on this particular ship from the age range of 16 to 30, the 20-somethings, the college age crowd. There's more of that as well, along with families and in all ages. But that's the crowd you don't necessarily see on Disney ships.
Right.
And so I'm seeing that a lot on this ship.
One of the things, there's a lot about Royal Caribbean that I like. But it is difficult to make an apples-to-apples comparison to Disney. But one of the first comparisons you hear is that this, Royal Caribbean is just a much less expensive option than Disney is. And on the surface, in terms of the actual cost of the stateroom, you're right. It is cheaper on Royal Caribbean. But Royal Caribbean also nickel and dimes you at every turn. I almost fell when I looked at the refillable mug for, what was it, $55? Mm-hmm. He told me it was $55.49.
And then it's,
I think there's different tiers you can do it. If you do it earlier.
But still,
for children, it's cheaper as well.
It's still, but I don't care. Wow, okay. You got to consume a lot of soda to make that worthwhile. The food in the main dining rooms, I don't know. Some people have been telling me the food's been pretty good in the main dining rooms of Salern.
Yeah.
It has been.
Well, we've been eating in the signature restaurants, which there are 3 of them. Technically, I think 4. Isn't there a sushi restaurant?
Yeah, Izumi.
And then you've got Chops, 150, and Giovanni's Table, which we had we rented it.
Solarium.
The Solarium Bistro. Right, but that's not a signature restaurant, is it? Is that considered signature? Okay.
All right. So Val likes the Solarium.
Val, who I pointed Val to a specific slot machine last night because it had been doing well for me. She put $5 in, won 100.
Wow.
They'd be very happy. I was afraid she was going to lose money and then come back and hit me. But I told her she's from Louisiana, so she's got that whole voodoo thing going on. So she was like putting some kind of curse on it. And
she's got the good juju.
The good juju. But I've had a magnificent week on the ship. And just hanging around, gambling and kind of doing the events that we've done. We had an ice cream social one day that people seem to enjoy.
Yeah.
And of course we had Giovanni. We rented out all of Giovanni's table for the night for our group a few nights ago, and that meal was superb.
That was so much fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Very nice.
Are you raising your hand to be dressed, or? Oh, you're very welcome for that. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, now, I'll be honest, I had no idea what was being put in the staterooms, because people are coming up to me saying, thank you, so I'm like, okay. That was John and Kevin. And Tracy, let's not forget Tracy Heinrichs, of course. Our amazing Tracy, who did a phenomenal job coordinating all of this. Those guys were responsible for selecting those gifts. But yeah, every day I was as surprised as you were. I'm like, wow, that's really nice. But Royal Caribbean also makes it a lot easier for us to do that on these group cruises. There we have a lot more options, being able to rent out an entire restaurant, being able to put different types of things in the room. Royal Caribbean's group process and group opportunities are a lot better than they are on Disney. Disney really stopped a few years ago doing anything major for groups. We don't get a lot of consideration when we do them. That was one of the reasons we wanted to try this out, because we thought, it is less expensive and we do have more options. And I think it's worked out really well. Everybody seems to be really, really happy. I certainly am. Again, my thanks to John, Kevin, and Tracy for all the work they did putting this together. Our helpers, Kathy and Katie, Roger and Kathy, Jeff and Val I've seen helping out, as they always do. Leah Zanola right here. Leah's here somewhere. Looking resplendent, I might say. You look fabulous. And my team, of course, just everybody did a great job. And I can't thank you guys enough for coming along and doing this with us. It was a great time for us. We hope you enjoyed it. That is going to do it for this episode of our show. We hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back with you again next time with another edition of the Diz Unplugged. Thanks for being with us, everyone. And remember, all together, stay out of the damn lakes. Take it easy, everybody.